The vacuum of space was a canvas of impossible beauty, stretched taut across the observation deck of the United Earth Federation scout vessel Starfarer. Below, a nebula pulsed with internal light, its gases shifting in slow cosmic dances. Captain Eva Rostova, a woman whose calm demeanor belied a lifetime spent navigating the unforgiving void, watched it from her command chair. Her ship, the Starfarer, was a vessel of exploration, not conflict, designed for long-range reconnaissance and first contact, not for the grim calculus of interstellar engagements. For weeks, their journey through this unexplored sector had been uneventful, a symphony of scientific discovery and quiet solitude. But now, that silence shattered. "Captain," the voice of specialist Maya Singh, the ship's communications and xenolinguistics expert, cut through the deck's usually low hum. Picking up an extremely distressed signal, unknown origin, high-frequency burst transmission. It's not human." Eva's hand tightened on her armrest. "Put it on speakers, Maya. Let's hear it." A cascade of ethereal, bell-like chimes filled the bridge, overlaid with a frantic, warbling undertone. It was beautiful, haunting, and undeniably terrified. The chimes escalated into a chorus of desperate pleas, alien and urgent. "Can you make sense of it?" Eva asked, her gaze sweeping across her crew, whose faces reflected a mix of awe and concern. Maya's fingers flew across her console, her brow furrowed in concentration. "Working on it, Captain. The syntax is complex, but there are recurring harmonic patterns. Our translation matrix is trying to establish a baseline. Wait. One phrase is repeating. I think I have a preliminary translation. It's extreme environment adaptives. We are seeking aid. Fear the stories, but greater is the peril." A hush fell over the bridge. Extreme environment adaptives. It was a term often used by other nascent spacefaring species to describe humanity, based on their assessments of Earth's incredibly dynamic and often perilous biosphere. Tales of humanity's origin world, a place of volatile weather, predatory fauna, and geological upheaval, had become interstellar legends. Commander Lena Petrova, the ship's tactical officer, moved to Eva's side. Her expression was grim. "Captain, if they're calling us that, it means they know of humanity. And if they know of us, it means they're part of a larger galactic community we've yet to formally encounter. This isn't just a distress call. It's first contact with a side dish of interspecies conflict." "Acknowledged, Commander," Eva replied, her eyes on the main viewscreen, where the nebula now seemed to churn with hidden meaning. "Maya, attempt to establish a two-way communication channel. Keep it simple. Let them know we're receiving." Maya nodded, her fingers deftly manipulating controls. A moment later, a new voice, softer, more melodic, emerged from the speakers, still trembling with fear but now carrying a faint edge of wonder. "Human Starfarer, is this the vessel of the Harshwelders? We are the Lumion. Our ship, the Lumina, is failing. We are pursued by the KR Lax. They will eliminate us. We have heard tales of your remarkable resilience. Please do not be afraid of our fragility." Dr. Aris Thorne, the ship's chief medical officer, a man known for his unflappable curiosity, stepped closer to the communications station. "Fascinating. They seem to have a preconceived notion of us based on folklore, perhaps. Captain, if their vessel is failing, time is of the essence. And fragility suggests they may be ill-suited to the void." "Understood, Doctor. Maya, ask them how many Lumion are aboard and what state their life support is in. Inquire about the nature of the KR Lax and their pursuit." As Maya relayed the questions in simple, slow bursts of translated sound, the Lumion spokesperson, who identified herself as Elder Alara, responded with a rapid, almost frantic cadence. "We are 53 Lumion, mostly families. Our life support fails within 2 cycles. Our propulsion is compromised. The KR Lax, they are conquerors. They seek to absorb all lesser species into their dominion. They have no concept of mercy for those not of their strength. They hunt us for resource acquisition." their vessels are swifter. We believe they will overtake us within hours. Eva's resolve hardened. Whatever notions these Lumion held about humanity, one thing was clear: they were vulnerable, and they desperately needed assistance. Commander Petrova, plot an intercept course. Best speed. Jax, how's the Starfarer's integrity? Can we handle a quick rendezvous and potentially absorb refugees? Chief Engineer Jax, a burly individual with grease often smudged across his cheek and a perpetually thoughtful expression, responded from his console. Ship's integrity is prime, Captain. We're designed for endurance, not combat, but our hull can take a beating. And our environmental systems are modular. We can reconfigure temporary habitation quickly. Excellent. Maya, tell Elder Ilera we are en route. We will offer sanctuary. The Lumion Elder's voice trembled with a mixture of immense relief and lingering trepidation. You will truly assist us, even though we are so physically unsuited for struggle. The stories spoke of human ferocity, of your astonishing tolerance for hardship. We feared you might find us contemptible. We assist those in peril, Elder Ilera, Eva stated, her voice firm and clear. It is what humans do. Your fragility is not a measure of your worth. As the Starfarer accelerated, the Lumion vessel, the Lumina, grew on the main screen. It was a beautiful, elegant ship, all sweeping curves and shimmering bioluminescent panels, but clearly crippled. Dark scars marred its delicate hull, and a faint, erratic flickering indicated failing power conduits. The docking bay was a hive of controlled activity when the Lumina was finally brought alongside and secured. Human crew members moved with practiced efficiency, their movements powerful and purposeful, a sharp contrast to the delicate, almost ethereal forms of the Lumion emerging from their damaged vessel. The Lumion were a sight of fragile beauty. Tall and slender, their skin shimmered with soft internal light, shifting through shades of azure and violet. Their large, multifaceted eyes, like polished gems, darted nervously, reflecting every movement. Their limbs were spindly, their movements cautious and graceful, as if every step was an act of deliberate balance. They huddled together, their bell-like voices hushed with apprehension. Dr. Thorne, ever the scientist, was the first to approach the disembarking refugees, scanner in hand. Their physiology is fascinating, he murmured, his voice low enough not to startle them. Extremely low metabolic rate, fine bone structure, incredibly sensitive dermal layers. They seem adapted for very stable, low-gravity, temperate environments. Anything outside that would be challenging. Elder Ilera, her internal light pulsating faintly with residual fear, approached Eva with hesitant steps. Her voice, translated by Maya, was a soft melody. Captain Rostova, we are profoundly grateful for your benevolence, yet your presence is jarring, your movements are so impactful. And your scent, it is a maelstrom of potent biological compounds. Eva managed a gentle smile. My apologies, Elder. Our movements are simply normal for us. As for our scent, it is the natural consequence of our biology. We mean you no harm. One of the Lumion healers, a younger individual named Kale, with particularly vibrant blue light rippling beneath his skin, stepped forward, addressing Dr. Thorne through Maya's translation. Your medical scans, Doctor, indicate the presence of potent metabolic stimulants in your system. Substances such as caffeine and capsaicin. Our texts describe these as highly destabilizing agents for most sentient life forms. How do you tolerate such internal imbalances? Dr. Thorne chuckled, then quickly suppressed the sound as several Lumion flinched. Ah, yes, caffeine is a common beverage often consumed for alertness. Capsaicin is what gives certain foods their spicy flavor. To us, these are not imbalances, but enhancers of experience. Many human foods derive their enjoyment from properties that would be considered toxic to other species. The Lumion exchanged wide-eyed glances, their bioluminescence flickering in surprise. Elara's light pulsed rapidly. The tales are true. You consume internal fire. You derive sustenance from what would be a catalyst for internal dissolution for us. And your physical activities, Kale added, gesturing vaguely towards the ship's gym, visible through an open hatch. We observed some of your crew willingly subjecting their forms to extreme physical resistance and rhythmic impacts. They appeared to inflict discomfort upon themselves for no immediate gain. Is this a form of ritualized self-punishment? Jax, wiping grease from his hands on a rag, grinned. No, that's just a workout. Keeps us healthy, keeps us strong, makes our bodies better at doing things. Kale's eyes widened further. You voluntarily induce exertion and discomfort to improve your state. Our people strive for internal and external stasis for optimal health. Any deviation from equilibrium is considered a sign of distress. As humans continued to assist the Lumion, providing temporary housing and nutrient paste, a new alarm blared across the Starfarer. Captain, Commander Petrova's voice was sharp. 3 large vessels dropping out of hyperspace on an intercept course. KR LAC's design unmistakable. Heavy weapon signatures. They're hailing us. Eva strode to the bridge, her expression resolute. On screen, Lena. Maya, prepare to translate. The main view screen flickered, resolving into the image of a KR LAC's commander. The creature was formidable, with segmented, obsidian-colored chitin armor, multiple limb-like appendages, and a snarling maw filled with razor-sharp teeth. Its eyes, hard and unblinking, gleamed with predatory intent. Human vessel. The KR LAC's commander's voice was a guttural growl, translated as aggressive and contemptuous. I am Commander V. Rauk. You possess property of the KR LAC's Imperium. Return the Lumion prey immediately, and your vessel may be spared a protracted downfall. Eva's voice was steady, unwavering. Commander V. Rauk, I am Captain Eva Rostova of the UEF Starfarer. The Lumion are not property. They are sentient beings seeking refuge, and they have been granted asylum under human protection. We will not surrender them. V. Rauk's multifaceted eyes narrowed, and a low, rumbling growl emanated from its throat. Asylum, protection, these are words for the weak. The Lumion are a resource. Their weakness defines their purpose. You, human, are a single scout vessel against 3 KR LAC's war hulls. Do you truly comprehend the imbalance of this confrontation? Lena Petrova leaned in close to Eva, her voice a low murmur. Captain, our shields are designed for particle deflections, not sustained energy barrages. Our weaponry is for deterrence, not engagement with dedicated combat vessels. I understand, Commander, Eva replied, her eyes never leaving V. Rauk's image. Then, louder, Commander V. Rauk, human protection is not predicated on the strength of our weaponry, but on the strength of our conviction. We do not abandon those we have pledged to shield. The KR LAC's commander let out a sound like grinding stone. Then you are fools, and foolishness invites destruction. You have invited the wrath of the Imperium. Prepare for swift elimination. The transmission abruptly severed. On the tactical display, the 3 KR LAC's war hulls began to maneuver, their weapon ports glowing with building energy. Weapons charging, Captain! Specialist Ben Carter, the weapons officer, reported, his voice tight. Significant energy signatures. All hands brace for impact, Eva ordered. Engineering, prioritize power to shields. Tactical evasive maneuvers, make them earn every shot. The Starfarer, though not a warship, was built with redundant systems and a surprising degree of maneuverability for a vessel of its class. Lena's hands danced over the controls, twisting and rolling the ship, causing the first volley of KR LAC's energy blasts to graze their shields rather than strike true. The ship shuddered violently, alarms blared, and emergency lighting flickered, casting the bridge in an ominous red glow. Shields holding at 80%, Ben called out. Returning fire, Captain. Target their weapon arrays, Eva commanded. Precision shots only. "We're not here to conquer, we're here to make them regret their choice." The Starfarer's smaller energy cannons, designed for disabling rogue asteroids or warning off aggressive wildlife, lanced out with surprising accuracy. While they did not penetrate the KR-LAC's heavy armor, they struck vital weapon ports, causing bright sparks and brief power fluctuations on the enemy hulls. The KR-LACs, used to overwhelming lesser foes with brute force, seemed momentarily flummoxed by the precise, surgical strikes. "They're not moving like conventional prey," Vralk's voice boomed over an open channel, a mix of disbelief and growing fury. "Their vessel absorbs more kinetic discharge than estimated. How is this possible?" Suddenly, a bone-jarring impact shook the Starfarer. A KR-LAC's war hull, larger and heavier than the other two, had chosen to ram them, its reinforced prow tearing through the Starfarer's outer hull. The grinding screech of tortured metal was deafening. "Hull breach! Deck 5!" Jax shouted from engineering, his voice surprisingly calm despite the chaos. "Emergency force fields are deployed, but we have boarders." "Repel boarders! All security teams to Deck 5!" Eva barked. "Dr. Thorne, prepare medbay for casualties." Through the breach, KR-LAC's warriors poured into the Starfarer. They were powerful, multi-limbed creatures, agile and swift in the ship's artificial gravity, their hardened forms adapted for brutal close-quarters combat. Their blades, sharp as obsidian, flashed in the emergency lights. On Deck 5, the Starfarer's security teams, led by Sergeant Kaito Ishida, met the incursion head-on. The KR-LACs were fast, terrifyingly so, their attacks a blur of motion. But Kaito's team, trained in the unpredictable and often brutal environments of Earth's colonial outposts, were not easily overcome. They moved with a different kind of speed, calculated, economical, and ruthlessly efficient. When a KR-LAC's warrior leaped towards Private Lena Schmidt, she didn't try to dodge its lightning-fast lunge. Instead, she pivoted, allowing the KR-LAC's own momentum to carry it past her while she drove her combat knife into a vulnerable joint. The creature roared in pain, its attack faltering. "Don't chase their speed," Kaito bellowed, sidestepping a sweeping blade. "Anticipate their vector, hit where they're going to be." Another KR-LAC's warrior, its movements impossibly quick, slashed across Corporal Jin Li's arm. Jin staggered, a dark stain spreading on his uniform, but instead of falling, he let out a primal yell, seizing the KR-LAC's arm with a grip that seemed to defy the creature's superior strength. He held on, locking the limb in place, allowing Private Miller to put 3 precise shots into the alien's torso. The KR-LACs crumpled. The KR-LAC's invaders, who expected fragile prey to scatter, found themselves facing beings who seemed to thrive on adversity. Wounds that should have incapacitated other species only fueled the human's ferocity. Pain was not a deterrent, it was a goad. On the bridge, the KR-LAC's commander Vralk's voice returned to the comms, a raw, disbelieving snarl. "Impossible! Your forces resist! Your vessel endures beyond all calculation. What are you, human? How do you maintain coherence under such duress?" "We're human, Commander Vralk," Eva replied, her voice calm amidst the explosions and alarms. Her gaze was fixed on the tactical display, watching Kaito's team slowly push back the boarding party. "We come from a world that specialized in making things tough. You'll find we're exceptionally well adapted to duress." The 2 remaining KR-LAC's vessels, despite their size, began to show signs of hesitation. Their ramming partner was now spewing smoke from internal explosions, its boarding party faltering. The unexpected resilience of the Starfarer, a mere scout vessel, had shattered their preconceived notions of easy prey. Suddenly, Maya Singh's eyes widened. "Captain, long-range sensors picking up multiple energy signatures, human origins, a fleet, Captain, moving at maximum warp." Eva allowed herself a flicker of grim satisfaction. Acknowledged, Maya. Commander Petrova, continue evasive maneuvers. Ben, keep up the precision fire. We just need to hold the line a little longer. Viralk's voice returned, now laced with genuine frustration. More human vessels. Your defiance is illogical. You are weak. You are few. Perhaps your definitions are simply too narrow, Commander, Eva retorted. Sometimes, strength isn't measured in size or numbers, but in what you are willing to protect. The KR-Lax ships, facing an opponent that refused to break and now detecting unknown reinforcements, began to retreat, their confidence utterly shattered. They had come expecting to harvest easy resources. They had found an unyielding, unbreakable barrier. As the KR-Lax vanished into hyperspace, the Starfarer, though scarred and battered, remained functional. On Deck 5, Kaito's team, bandaged but unbowed, had pushed the remaining KR-Lax back into the breach, which Jack's team was now sealing. In the medical bay, Doctor, Thorne worked swiftly, his hands deft, as Lumian healers like Kale watched in horrified fascination as humans joked through pain, refused sedation for minor procedures, and asked to return to duty with wounds that would render a Lumian unconscious for days. Elder Ilara, watching the resilience of her protectors, her bioluminescence now a steady, hopeful glow, approached Captain Rostova. Captain, you fought for us. You sustained damage for us. We truly were afraid of the Harshwelders, but now we understand. Your strength is not merely in your ability to endure suffering, but in your unwavering commitment to shield those who cannot shield themselves. Eva looked at the Lumian Elder, then at her weary but determined crew. The Starfarer was damaged, but its spirit was intact. The KR-Lax would return, no doubt, with overwhelming force. But humanity had now made its presence known in the galaxy, not as conquerors, but as guardians. The true challenge, she knew, was only just beginning. Thank you for joining us for the first part of this epic saga. If you enjoyed this journey into the vast unknown, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you do not miss a single moment of humanity for the win. What do you think will happen next? Will the KR-Lax return? How will humanity's unique strengths shape the galaxy? Let us know in the comments below and tell us where you are watching from. Admiral Jerk Vostov's flagship, the UEF Ironclad, was a titan of the void, dwarfing the battered Starfarer. Its gray hull, bristling with advanced sensor arrays and defensive armaments, projected an aura of unyielding strength. It was the lead vessel of a full battle group, 12 ships strong, that had emerged from hyperspace like an interstellar wall of defiance. Captain Eva Rostova watched it approach from her bridge, a quiet sense of relief mingling with the lingering ache of battle. 2 hours later, Admiral Vostov himself stepped onto the Starfarer's bridge. He was a man carved from granite, with a stern face and eyes that seemed to absorb every detail. He surveyed the scorched bulkheads and the weary but resolute faces of Eva's crew. Captain Rostova, Vostov's voice was deep, resonant. Your report was concise. I confess, when a scout vessel reports first contact, refugee assimilation, and a full combat engagement with a hostile empire, all within the span of a single watch, one tends to raise an eyebrow. Eva allowed a small, tired smile. Sir, it was certainly an eventful 24 hours. Indeed, your ship sustained significant hull integrity breaches and energy conduit damage, yet you prevailed against 3 KR-Lax war hulls. Remarkable. Vostov's gaze sharpened. Tell me about the KR-Lax. Your report characterizes them as predators and conquerors. They are, Admiral, Commander Lena Petrova interjected, stepping forward. Their psychology is simple. Strength devours weakness. They view other species as resources to be exploited or eliminated if they resist. And the Lumian? Vostov asked, his attention shifting to Dr. Eris Thorne, who had joined them on the bridge. Admiral, the Lumian are perhaps the most biologically delicate sentient species we've ever encountered, Dr. Thorne explained, his voice hushed with scientific wonder. Their physiology is exquisitely adapted to stable, low-gravity, temperate environments. Extreme temperatures, high G-forces, even common human atmospheric compounds can be acutely distressing to them. Yet, their biological understanding is incredibly profound. They possess a form of bioadaptive technology that is almost miraculous in its efficiency and precision, though it's inherently fragile. "A fascinating paradox," Vostov murmured, then turned back to Eva. "Captain, I've given the order to establish a secure perimeter around this sector. We will protect these Lumion. Humanity has officially drawn a line in the cosmic sand." His words sent a quiet tremor of determination through the bridge. This wasn't just a rescue mission anymore. This was a declaration. A short while later, Admiral Vostov, Captain Rostova, Dr. Thorne, and Chief Engineer Jax held a joint meeting with Elder Alara and the Lumion healer, Kale, in the Starfarer's improvised conference room. The Lumion, though still fragile, displayed a newfound resilience, their internal lights glowing with a steady, hopeful hue. "Admiral Vostov," Elder Alara began, her voice a soft, bell-like melody translated by specialist Maya Singh, "your presence fills us with an unprecedented sense of security. The KR-Lax have pursued us across star systems, and no one has ever dared to stand against them." "That changes now, Elder," Vostov stated, his gaze firm. "We will not allow the KR-Lax to prey on peaceful species. Your knowledge of the galaxy and of the KR-Lax will be invaluable." Kale, the Lumion healer, spoke up, his multifaceted eyes fixed on Dr. Thorne. "Dr. Thorne, my people wish to share our medical knowledge. Your remarkable resilience, your body's ability to mend and endure despite trauma, combined with our understanding of cellular regeneration and bioconstructs, it could revolutionize healing for both our species." Dr. Thorne's eyes gleamed with excitement. "Indeed, Kale, our initial examinations of your Lumina's life support systems revealed bioluminescent energy converters that are almost perfectly efficient, but incredibly susceptible to kinetic shock. If we could integrate that kind of energy generation into human systems, with our structural reinforcement, and if we could combine human strength and durability with Lumion bioengineering," Kale countered, "we could perhaps even develop new defenses. Imagine a hull material that self-regenerates or deflects energy through adaptive bioluminescence." Jax, the chief engineer, leaned forward, his eyes alight with a craftsman's curiosity. "The Lumina's propulsion systems, too. Delicate, yes, but almost massless drive fields. If we could integrate that with our robust, field-tested reaction drives, a hybrid system might achieve unheard-of speeds or incredible efficiency, all without the fragility." The conversation buzzed with possibilities, a rapid exchange of concepts, each species' strengths complementing the other's weaknesses. For the next 2 days, the Starfarer became a hub of interspecies collaboration. Human engineers, with their pragmatic approach to problem-solving and their vast experience with durable, adaptable materials, worked alongside Lumion technicians, who brought an ethereal understanding of bio-integrated systems and hyper-efficient energy manipulation. In the medical bays, Dr. Thorne and Kale began an unprecedented exchange of knowledge. Lumion healers, with their ability to precisely manipulate genetic structures and initiate rapid cellular repair, were astounded by human surgical precision, pain tolerance, and the body's innate, ferocious will to live. Humans, in turn, marveled at the Lumion's ability to regrow damaged organs or reverse genetic anomalies that humanity considered incurable. "It's like they have access to the blueprints of life itself," Dr. Thorne mused to Eva. "But they're so fragile, they rarely survive the conditions that would necessitate such advanced healing. We, on the other hand, are constantly battling damage, forcing our bodies to adapt and overcome." This symbiotic relationship quickly bore fruit. human engineers began to integrate Lumion bioluminescent energy conduits into Starfarer's damaged sections, reinforcing the delicate Lumion components with robust human alloys and redundant systems. The result was a power transfer efficiency never before seen in human vessels, with surprisingly resilient backup systems. The Lumina, the Lumion refugee ship, was also undergoing a radical transformation. Its fragile hull was being layered with human durasteel, reinforced internally with adaptable skeletal structures that mimicked human bone growth, while its delicate engines were now encased in shock-absorbing human-engineered dampeners. "It's no longer just a Lumion ship or a human ship, Captain," Jax reported, a triumphant grin on his face. "It's a truly hybrid vessel. Faster, more efficient, and now it can actually take a hit. It's like a butterfly with a steel exoskeleton." But the quiet period of collaboration was short-lived. Lieutenant Commander Anya Sharma, the tactical officer on Admiral Vostov's flagship, UEF Ironclad, interrupted a joint Lumion-human engineering briefing. Her voice was sharp, cutting through the hum of innovative discourse. "Admiral Captain Rostova, we have multiple contacts emerging from hyperspace, far beyond scout range. KR lacks signatures, estimating 15 war hulls. 3 are Dreadnought class." A hush fell over the room. 15 war hulls, 3 dreadnoughts. This was not a punitive expedition, this was an invasion force. Admiral Vostov's expression remained grim. "They've brought the full weight of their Imperium this time. They must have been thoroughly humiliated by a single scout vessel." He turned to Eva. "Captain, your Starfarer and the Lumina will remain behind the main fleet. Your primary objective is the safety of the Lumion refugees. We will engage." "Admiral," Eva said, her gaze steady, "with all due respect, the Starfarer is repaired and the Lumina is vastly improved. Our integrated systems could provide critical support or even demonstrate a new form of resistance." Vostov considered this, then nodded. "Very well. But stay out of the direct line of fire unless explicitly ordered. Focus on support and demonstrating this new resistance if the opportunity arises." The human fleet moved to intercept, a defiant wall of metal and energy against the encroaching darkness. The KR Lax formation was massive, ominous, a crushing wave of obsidian hulls and glowing weapon ports. Commander Viralk's guttural voice filled the comms. "Human ships, you have chosen unwisely. Your pathetic protection is an insult to the natural order. Surrender the Lumion and your destruction will be swift. Resist, and your species will be shattered across the void." Admiral Vostov's reply was short and sharp. "This is Admiral Vostov of the United Earth Federation. Your reign of terror ends here, Viralk. This sector is under human protection. Any further aggression will be met with overwhelming force." Viralk's response was a chilling, grating laugh. "Overwhelming force? You stand against the might of the Imperium. You are few of you. You are weak. You will fall." The battle erupted in a maelstrom of light and fury. KR Lax energy blasts, massive and destructive, tore through the void, impacting human shields with concussive force. The human fleet, though outnumbered, moved with a coordinated precision that seemed to defy the chaos. Their ships darted and weaved, their weapons systems tracking enemy weak points with uncanny accuracy. On the Starfarer, Eva Rostova watched the tactical display, her heart pounding. Human shields were holding, but just barely. One of the KR Lax dreadnoughts, a behemoth covered in more weapon emplacements than any human ship, was targeting the Ironclad, unleashing a continuous barrage that was slowly eroding the Admiral's flagship's defenses. "Captain," Jax reported, his voice strained, "the Lumina is ready for a test run. Its hybrid engines show incredible power output far beyond anything conventional. And the bioluminescent shield projectors are active, though we haven't tested them under fire." Eva's eyes narrowed. The KR Lax were pressing the attack, their sheer numbers starting to tell. Several human destroyers were taking critical hits, their shields flickering dangerously. If the ironclad fell, the entire defense would collapse. "Jax, I need something that can distract that dreadnought, something that will make them hesitate," Eva said. "Something unexpected." "Captain," Dr. Thorne chimed in, "Kale and I have made a breakthrough with the Lumion bioadaptive emitters. We believe we can reconfigure their primary function from internal regeneration to external energy absorption and redirection. It's incredibly risky, and the energy requirements are immense, but it could effectively eat incoming energy and re-emit it in a non-harmful, disorienting pulse." Eva's mind raced. An energy-eating, disorienting pulse. Against a species that relied on overwhelming firepower, it could be a game-changer. "Can you integrate it with the Lumina's new systems, with Jax's reinforced conduits?" "Potentially, Captain," Jax confirmed, "but it's an untested prototype. The stress on the Lumina's core could be catastrophic. It's a one-shot deal, and even if it works, the ship would be a sitting target afterward." "Admiral Vostov needs breathing room," Eva declared, her decision made. "Patch me through to the Lumina." "Elder Alara, Kale, this is Captain Rostova. We need your help. We have a plan, but it requires courage." On the Lumina, Elder Alara and Kale listened, their internal lights dimming with trepidation as Maya translated Eva's words. The concept of willingly engaging the KR-lax, of becoming a target, was anathema to their species. "Captain Rostova," Elder Alara's voice trembled, "our people, we are not warriors. We cannot fight." "You do not need to fight, Elder," Eva replied, her voice firm yet gentle. "You only need to show them what strength truly means. Your ship, with its new capabilities, can create a distraction, a momentary blindness for their most powerful vessel, giving our fleet a chance to regroup and deliver a decisive blow." Kale, the healer, looked at his elder, then at the image of the human fleet, battered but unyielding. He had seen the human medical teams treating wounds, returning to duty with bandaged limbs, their faces set with unshakable resolve. He had seen their calm under the most intense pressure. "Captain," Kale's voice came through, filled with a newfound determination, "we will do it. We have witnessed your courage. We will not allow your people to fall protecting us without offering what we can." "Lumina, this is the Starfarer," Eva commanded. "Prepare for a high-speed pass on the KR-lax dreadnought. Jax, put everything you have into that propulsion system. Dr. Thorne, Kale, prepare that bioemitter. Target the dreadnought's primary sensor arrays and weapon ports." The Lumina, transformed into a sleek, steel-backed missile, detached from the Starfarer. Its hybrid engines flared, propelling it with incredible acceleration towards the titanic KR-lax dreadnought, which was still relentlessly hammering the UEF ironclad. The KR-lax commander Viralk on his dreadnought saw the small, transformed Lumion ship approaching. He laughed, a sound that grated even over the comms. "The Lumion prey returns. Do you seek a swift end, foolish insects?" But then, the Lumina's modified bioemitters flared. A blinding, multispectral pulse of energy, unlike anything the KR-lax had ever encountered, erupted from the small vessel. It wasn't a destructive blast, but a torrent of chaotic, absorbing wavelengths that overloaded the KR-lax dreadnought's sensors, weapon targeting systems, and even its visual processing. The dreadnought, a monster of steel and plasma, suddenly went blind, its weapon barrages sputtering, its massive hull momentarily losing cohesion as its internal systems struggled to cope with the bizarre energy drain. It wavered, a giant stunned by a single, impossible sting. "Now," Admiral Vostov's voice roared across the human fleet. "Concentrate fire on the dreadnought's exposed flanks, full power." The human fleet, seizing the unexpected opportunity, unleashed a devastating volley. Hundreds of energy lances, missiles, and kinetic slugs slammed into the KR-lax dreadnought's vulnerable sides, where its shields had dropped in response to the Lumina's pulse. Explosions ripped through its dark hull. But the Lumina, having unleashed its single desperate act of defiance, was now powerless, its fragile core systems critically overstressed, drifting helplessly in the path of the retreating KR-Lax dreadnought. "Captain, the Lumina is disabled," Jax shouted. "It's right in the dreadnought's path. It's going to be crushed." Eva's eyes widened in horror. They had done it. They had bought the fleet time. But at what cost? The KR-Lax dreadnought, though crippled, was still a monumental force, slowly rotating, its ruined weapon ports sparking as it tried to reach targets. And the Lumina, a tiny, glowing beacon of sacrifice, was directly in its path. "Starfarer, full power to forward thrusters," Eva bellowed. "Lena, get us between the Lumina and that dreadnought. Ben, target anything that moves. We are not letting that ship perish." The Starfarer, already battered, roared forward, its engines screaming, putting itself in harm's way once more. They had asked the Lumian for an impossible act of courage, and the fragile aliens had delivered. Now, it was humanity's turn to repay that debt, even if it meant their own downfall. The dreadnought's vast shadow loomed, growing larger with terrifying speed, its damaged form still capable of crushing the small, defiant human vessel and the delicate alien ship it protected. The galaxy holds its breath. Will the Starfarer and the Lumians survive this desperate gambit? What other unforeseen challenges will the KR-Lax bring to bear on humanity's burgeoning protection fleet? Do you think the Admiral made the right call sending the Lumina into harm's way? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you don't want to miss a single pulse-pounding moment of humanity for the win, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell right now. The Starfarer screamed, its engines pushing beyond redline as it hurled itself between the drifting Lumina and the collapsing, gargantuan form of the KR-Lax dreadnought. Sparks rained from compromised conduits on the bridge. Commander Lena Petrova grunted, wrestling the helm, trying to make a scout vessel perform the duties of a dedicated shield. "Impact imminent!" Ben Carter's voice was a strained shout, barely audible over the klaxons. A terrible, grinding roar echoed through the deck as the dreadnought's damaged prow, still rotating with sluggish, uncontrolled momentum, scraped against the Starfarer's depleted shields. The impact sent a wave of force through the ship, throwing crew members from their stations. Bulkheads groaned, metal shrieked, and a sickening lurch reverberated through the hull. On the main view screen, the dreadnought filled their vision, a looming mountain of twisted metal and sparking energy. Its sheer mass threatened to crush them, even in its crippled state. "Shields down to 12%, Carter yelled, his face pale but determined. "Hull breaches on decks 3 and 4, forward plating buckling." Eva Rostova, clinging to her command chair, saw the dreadnought's ruined weapon ports begin to spark erratically, attempting to reach their target. The Lumina, directly behind them, was a delicate, unmoving beacon of sapphire light, helpless. "Jax Thorne!" Eva bellowed into the comms, her voice cutting through the chaos. "Is that bio-emitter ready? Now's our chance." From the Lumina, Chief Engineer Jax's voice, surprisingly steady, replied. "Barely. Captain, Lumina's core is screaming, but Kale and I have jury-rigged a direct power conduit from the Starfarer's secondary reactor. It's untested, highly unstable, and will burn out the emitters completely, but it might give us a single desperate pulse of something." "Give it to them," Eva commanded, her eyes fixed on the encroaching shadow of the dreadnought. "Lena, full reverse, put every ounce of power into stabilizing the Lumina's position." Lena's fingers flew, diverting energy, causing the Starfarer to shudder even more violently. On the Lumina, a faint, shimmering field began to emanate from its hull, a soft, azure light that flickered like distant aurora. This was Kale's bioadaptive emitter, combined with Jax's brute force human engineering, trying to create a protective, energy-absorbing bubble around the fragile alien ship. It was a desperate gambling, a blending of two utterly disparate technologies under fire. The dreadnought, its targeting system still compromised, finally unleashed a retaliatory blast, a raw, uncontrolled energy discharge meant to obliterate. It slammed into the Starfarer, which was still trying to shield the Lumina. The human vessel reeled, alarms blared a cacophony of critical failures, and the lights flickered ominously. But the main force of the blast seemed to glance off something else. The Lumina's hastily erected bioshield, pushed to its absolute limits by the Starfarer's power, briefly flared with an intense emerald light. It didn't repel the energy. It seemed to drink it, absorbing the destructive force into itself, then re-emitting it as a harmless, disorienting wave that further scrambled the Dreadnought's struggling sensors. The Lumina's internal lights dimmed precipitously, its emitters now clearly overloaded and failing, but it had held. The Starfarer, though heavily battered, had taken the brunt of the kinetic impact, but the alien ship behind it was, remarkably, intact. At that precise moment, a blinding torrent of energy lances erupted from the void. Admiral Jerk Vostov's UEF ironclad, followed by the rest of the human battle group, slammed into the KR-Lax Dreadnought's exposed flanks. They had used the Lumina's blinding pulse and the Starfarer's desperate shield to regroup and strike with overwhelming, coordinated force. The Dreadnought, already reeling, erupted in a series of catastrophic explosions. Its massive frame shuddered, then began to split apart, its black armor peeling away like dead skin. Commander Virauk's voice, raw with outrage and disbelief, shrieked across the comms, a primal bellow of a predator that suddenly found itself prey. "Impossible! They are weak! They are prey! Retreat! Full retreat! All units disengage!" The two remaining KR-Lax warhulls, already shaken by the Starfarer's unexpected resilience, immediately turned tail, abandoning their dreadnought and vanishing into hyperspace, their confidence shattered. The crippled dreadnought, a monument to KR-Lax arrogance, slowly tore itself apart, its internal fires burning fiercely before it finally exploded in a silent, brilliant flash that briefly illuminated the nebula. A profound silence descended upon the Starfarer's bridge, broken only by the crackle of damaged systems and the ragged breaths of the crew. They survived. They had won. "Captain," Ben Carter announced, his voice hoarse with relief and exhaustion, "the remaining KR-Lax vessels have jumped to warp. All clear. But the Starfarer is at critical hull integrity. Life support is failing on decks 3 and 4. We need immediate assistance." "Acknowledged, Ben," Eva replied, her voice steady despite the trembling in her hands. "Admiral, this is Captain Rostova. Starfarer is heavily damaged. The Lumina is disabled but secure. We've sustained significant casualties but no personnel losses. The Lumian refugees are safe." Admiral Vostov's voice, calm and resolute, filled the comms. "Understood, Captain. Patching over repair crews and medical teams from the Intrepid. You and your crew performed admirably, more than admirably. You bought us the time we needed." As human repair drones swarmed the Starfarer and medical teams swarmed its decks, the Lumina was carefully brought into the ironclad's main hangar bay for comprehensive assessment. Elder Alara and Kale, their internal lights glowing weakly from the strain, were brought aboard the Admiral's flagship. They were still physically fragile, but their eyes held a new, fierce light of gratitude and wonder. "Captain Rostova," Elder Alara said, her voice translated by Maya, now surprisingly strong despite her people's ordeal. You placed your own vessel in direct peril for ours. You embraced our vulnerability and made it a shield. We are without words." "It was what was necessary, Elder," Eva replied, her face smudged with dust and sweat, but her eyes resolute. "We made a promise." "And you kept it," Kale added, his multifaceted eyes fixed on Dr. Aris Thorne. "Doctor, the energies your ship channeled through our emitters, it was almost too much for our fragile technology. Yet your engineers made it possible. This synergy, it is profound." Admiral Vostov, surveying the damaged Starfarer and the Lumina in the hangar, turned to his assembled command staff. "This changes everything. The KR-Lax were utterly unprepared for our tactics. They will be back, and they will be furious. They will have undoubtedly learned that conventional brute force will not suffice against us. Just as the Admiral spoke, a new alarm blared from the Ironclad's tactical station. Lieutenant Commander Anya Sharma, her face grim, called out, "Admiral, we're picking multiple KR-Lax energy signatures, not war hulls, smaller, faster craft, and they're not heading for our fleet. They're bypassing us entirely. Their trajectory indicates they are targeting the neutral mining colony, New Haven, in the Kepler Belt." A collective gasp went through the bridge. New Haven was a small, independent asteroid mining outpost populated by a mix of human and other peaceful, unaligned species. It had no defenses beyond automated turrets designed to deter asteroid pirates. It was a soft target, utterly vulnerable. Viralk's guttural voice, now laced with cold, calculated malice, filled the comms. "Humans, you defy the natural order, you protect the weak. Very well. The KR-Lax Imperium will teach you the meaning of true strength. We will show you the cost of such foolish sentiment. Your protection will extend to nothing. New Haven, a hive of pathetic, unaligned laborers, will be purged. Their resources ours, their lives extinguished. Watch as the strong devour the weak, human. Your line in the sand is meaningless when you cannot defend those you pledge to shield." The transmission cut off, leaving a chilling silence. Admiral Vostov's jaw tightened. This was a new level of depravity. The KR-Lax were not just engaging military targets. They were attacking helpless civilians, trying to break humanity's will by striking at their core values. "They're trying to force our hand, Admiral," Commander Petrova stated, her voice tight with suppressed rage. "Force us to split our fleet or to abandon New Haven." "We will not abandon them," Vostov stated, his voice resonating with unyielding resolve. He turned to Elder Alara and Kale. "Elder Kale, you spoke of the KR-Lax psyche, their weaknesses. Do you have any insights that could help us here? These ships are too fast to intercept with our capital vessels." Elder Alara's internal light flickered, then brightened with a sudden intensity. "Admiral, the KR-Lax, they view all life not of their Imperium as resources. They are highly efficient in their brutal harvesting, but they are also creatures of habit, and their arrogance is a profound flaw." Kale, his multifaceted eyes gleaming, added, "Their smaller craft, the ones targeting New Haven, are optimized for rapid resource acquisition and liquidation. They prioritize speed and carrying capacity over sustained combat. They are not designed for a prolonged, complex engagement against a determined, agile defense. They are impatient." Eva Rostova's mind raced. Impatient, agile defense. What if they didn't try to intercept? What if they went for a different kind of intervention? "Admiral," Eva said, stepping forward, her gaze firm. "The Starfarer, though damaged, still has its high maneuverability systems and reinforced Lumion hybrid power, and we still have security teams who can operate under extreme pressure. What if we use the Starfarer and the Lumina now with its upgraded, durable systems to make a rapid, precision strike on New Haven, before the KR-Lax can initiate their purge?" Vostov looked at the heavily damaged Starfarer, then back at Eva, his eyes assessing. "Captain, which would be a high-risk insertion. You'd be entering a hostile zone alone against vessels designed for speed and overwhelming a stationary target. And the Lumina, even reinforced, is not a combat vessel." "No, Admiral," Eva conceded, "but it's fast. And its bioemitters, though burned out for a destructive pulse, could still provide a rapid, localized, highly disorienting burst for their sensors, a momentary blinding light. And we know from previous engagements that a momentary disorienting effect is enough to throw the KR-Lax into disarray. They don't adapt well to unexpected variables. And human combat teams, they thrive on the unexpected." Jax, overhearing, interjected. "Admiral, the Lumina's new structural integrity, thanks to our alloys, means it can take a hit now. A direct hit, no, but a glancing blow, it'll survive, and its engines are faster than anything in this fleet. We could get there before they even finish their approach. Admiral Vostov looked at his tactical display, then at the determined faces of Captain Rostova, Dr. Thorne, Chief Engineer Jax, and the Lumian, Elder Ilara and Kale. He knew the cost of this war was escalating, but he also knew that retreat was not an option. Humanity had drawn a line, and now the KR Lax were challenging that line, not with guns, but with the lives of innocents. "Very well, Captain Rostova," Vostov's voice boomed, a declaration of war that echoed through the entire fleet. "Starfarer Lumina, prepare for an immediate, high-speed intercept of the KR Lax raiding party at New Haven. Your objective is not to defeat them in open combat, but to protect the colonists and prevent their resource acquisition." Eva nodded, a grim determination settling on her features. This wasn't just about ships and shields anymore. It was about defining humanity's place in a ruthless galaxy. On the Starfarer's bridge, despite the emergency repairs, a new energy crackled. Lena Petrova was already plotting a course, her fingers flying across the controls. Ben Carter was optimizing weapon systems for quick, surgical strikes. "Admiral, they're increasing speed," Anya Sharma called out from the Ironclad's bridge. "The KR Lax raiders will reach New Haven in less than 2 cycles." Vostov turned to the main view screen, where the faint image of the KR Lax raiders could be seen, a dark swarm headed for an unsuspecting colony. "Then we must be faster. Captain Rostova, the fate of New Haven and perhaps the future of galactic protection rests on your speed and your human unpredictability. Make them regret this day." Eva's eyes, bright with an unyielding fire, met his. "We will, Admiral." The battered Starfarer, accompanied by the sleek, hybrid Lumina, engines flaring with newfound power, surged forward. They were not just 2 ships. They were a symbol, a desperate gambit of 2 species, one forged in harsh environments, the other in delicate perfection, now united by a shared purpose: to stand between the monstrous and the innocent. The race to New Haven had begun, and with it, a new, desperate chapter in humanity's fight for the fragile. The cosmic stakes have never been higher. Will the Starfarer and the Lumina reach New Haven in time to save the innocent colonists from the KR Lax purge? Can human unpredictability and Lumian ingenuity triumph over overwhelming odds once again? Tell us what you think in the comments below. Do you prefer your science fiction battles fought with brute force or clever tactics? And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the thrilling conclusion of humanity for the win. The Starfarer, a battered ghost of its former self, surged through the void, its hybrid engines screaming in protest and triumph. Beside it, the Lumina, transformed from a delicate butterfly into a sleek, steel-backed arrow, burned with an inner radiance, its bioluminescent power core pushed to unimaginable limits. Their destination: New Haven, a fragile pocket of civilization now under direct threat. On the Starfarer's bridge, Captain Eva Rostova gripped her command chair, every fiber of her being focused on the main view screen. Commander Lena Petrova coaxed every possible knot of speed from the ship, her hands a blur on the controls. Ben Carter, the weapons officer, worked frantically to arm the remaining battered weapons systems, optimizing them for maximum disruption rather than outright destruction. KR Lax raiders on visual. Lena's voice sliced through the hum of strained engines. 7 vessels. They've already deployed ground teams. Looks like they're targeting the primary mineral processing facility and the habitat domes. A knot tightened in Eva's stomach. The KR Lax were not subtle. Their resource acquisition involved brute force extraction, destroying everything in their path. New Haven, with its mixed population of humans and other peaceful species, would be razed to the ground. "Jax Thorne," Eva demanded into the comms. "Are those ground teams ready?" Chief Engineer Jax's voice came back, calm despite the urgency. "Aye, Captain. Sergeant Ishida's security teams are prepped and good to go. The Lumina's emitters are charged for a single broad-spectrum pulse. Kale confirms it should cause maximum disorientation for KR-LAC's biological systems without causing lasting harm to other species." "Excellent," Eva responded, a grim determination setting on her features. "Lumina, maintain formation. Starfarer, prepare for orbital insertion. Our priority, prevent the purge. We hit them hard, we hit them fast, and we make them regret their target choice." As the two vessels approached New Haven, the scene below was already a chaotic tableau of violence. KR-LAC's gunships, agile and heavily armed, strafed the colony's automated defenses, which were quickly overwhelmed. On the ground, larger KR-LAC's transports had landed, disgorging multi-limbed warriors who moved with chilling efficiency, herding terrified colonists and dismantling vital infrastructure. "They're harvesting the mineral veins and capturing personnel," Lena reported, her voice laced with disgust. "Standard KR-LAC's resource acquisition protocol. They're treating living beings as cargo." "Not anymore," Eva growled. "Starfarer, fire a warning burst across their bow, then deploy our teams. Lumina, prepare your pulse for my mark." The Starfarer's remaining forward cannons unleashed a salvo of energy, not aimed to destroy, but to send a clear message. The blasts ripped through the atmosphere, detonating in brilliant flashes just ahead of the lead KR-LAC's gunships. The KR-LACs, accustomed to uncontested attacks on defenseless targets, hesitated, and their predatory focus briefly interrupted. In that precious moment of confusion, the Starfarer opened its ventral bays. Specialized drop pods, carrying Sergeant Kaito Ishida's security teams, plunged towards the colony surface. These were not the heavy assault vehicles of a war fleet, but fast, agile insertion craft, designed for rapid deployment and infiltration. The KR-LAC's gunships, recovering from their surprise, banked sharply, their weapons locking onto the falling pods. But then, the Lumina moved. With a silent, breathtaking flash, the Lumina flared, not with destructive energy, but with a complex, multispectral pulse that rippled across New Haven. It was a wave of light and sound and subtle electromagnetic frequencies, tailored by Lumion bioengineering and amplified by human power conduits. On the KR-LAC's gunships, alarm klaxons shrieked. Their sensor arrays went haywire, their targeting systems spun wildly, and the pilots themselves recoiled, their multifaceted eyes overwhelmed by the chaotic light, their auditory sensors assaulted by a cacophony of disorienting chimes. On the ground, the KR-LAC's warriors stumbled, their movements becoming uncoordinated, their internal sensory organs reeling from the sudden, unexpected assault. The effect was not incapacitation, but profound, jarring disorientation. They were momentarily blind, deaf, and off-balanced. "Now, Kaito," Eva's voice was sharp. "Hit them where they stand." The drop pods slammed into the ground, scattering dust and debris. Sergeant Kaito Ishida and his teams exploded out, moving with a disciplined ferocity that belied their small numbers. They were a stark contrast to the lumbering, disoriented KR-LAC's warriors. Humans, forged on a world of dynamic, unpredictable threats, were masters of adapting to chaos. Private Lena Schmidt, her rifle snapping to her shoulder, took advantage of a KR-LAC's warrior's stumbling motion, putting a precise burst into its unarmored joint. Corporal Jin Lai, his arm still bandaged from the previous engagement, moved like a ghost through the disoriented enemy ranks, his combat knife finding vital conduits with brutal efficiency. "They're not reacting to expectations." Kaito's voice, relayed from his helmet cam, was filled with grim satisfaction. "Their agility is useless when they can't track targets. Focus fire on the commanders, hit the legs, exploit their low-gravity adaptations." The KR-LACs, designed for high-speed, overwhelming assaults in predictable environments, found themselves fighting on human terms. Chaotic, desperate, and utterly merciless. Their attempts to engage were clumsy, their blades flailing wildly as the humans moved into their blind spots, exploiting their momentary sensory overload. Wounded humans, drawing on their ingrained resilience, continued to fight, their pain a white-hot fuel for their determination. The KR-Lax had never encountered prey that refused to succumb. That seemed to grow stronger with adversity. Above, the KR-Lax gunships, slowly recovering from the Lumina's pulse, began to fire wildly, their aim still scattered. Ben Carter on the Starfarer used the opportunity. "Captain, I've got targeting locks on their thruster arrays. Not enough power to defeat, but I can cripple their maneuverability." "Do it, Ben!" Eva ordered. The Starfarer's weapons, now enhanced by Lumion power conduits, lanced out with surgical precision. Explosions rocked the KR-Lax gunships, not tearing them apart, but sending them spinning, their agile flight paths now erratic and uncontrolled. 2 of the 7 raiders were immediately rendered combat ineffective, spiraling away, no longer a threat. Meanwhile, on the ground, Dr. Eris Thorne and Kale had joined the human medical teams, providing rapid field care. But even as they healed, Kale's multifaceted eyes widened in awe at the human resilience. He watched as a human miner, his leg pinned under a collapsed support beam, refused sedation, his shouts echoing with primal defiance as he struggled to free himself, determined to protect his family who were being evacuated. "Their will, it is boundless," Kale whispered to Thorne. "They generate their own internal fire even when their bodies are breaking." Jax, having stayed with the Lumina to monitor its critically strained systems, activated the comms. "Captain, the Lumina's bioemitters are fried, but our hybrid propulsion system, it's a marvel. I can make a high-speed pass through their ground forces. Use the Lumina's mass to create a kinetic shockwave. Scatter them." "Negative, Jax," Eva snapped. "Too risky. That's a civilian area. We don't risk innocent lives." Just then, a frantic call came from the ground. "Captain, this is Kaito. We've got KR-Lax boarding one of the habitat domes. They're bypassing our perimeter, trying to take colonists hostage." Eva's eyes hardened. The KR-Lax was escalating. This wasn't just about resources. It was about terror, about breaking human resolve by striking at their core values. "Jax, full power to main thrusters," Eva commanded. "Lena, get us down there. Close air support will draw their fire. Ben, target any KR-Lax attempting to enter the domes. Don't miss." The Starfarer, ignoring its own structural integrity warnings, plunged further into New Haven's atmosphere, its battered hull burning from atmospheric friction. It became a defiant shield, interposing itself between the remaining KR-Lax gunships and the habitat domes, drawing their concentrated fire. The human vessel shuddered under the renewed barrage, its already weakened shields flickering, but it held. On the ground, Kaito and his teams, seeing the Starfarer's desperate gambit, renewed their assault with savage intensity. They cleared the perimeter of the primary habitat dome, their relentless, unpredictable attacks driving back the remaining KR-Lax warriors who had been focused on the ship. The KR-Lax, facing a 2-pronged assault from an enemy that refused to break, began to falter. "They're breaking ranks," Lena shouted, a note of triumph in her voice. 2 more gunships disengaging. The ground teams are abandoning their positions. The KR-Lax, having encountered what they considered illogical resistance from prey that defied the natural order, crumbled. Their tactical doctrine was based on overwhelming force against easy targets. Against a species that fought smarter, harder, and with a tenacity born of generations of struggle against their own brutal home world, they had no counter. Their arrogance had become their downfall. The remaining KR-Lax raiders, those still capable of flight, scattered into the void, abandoning their ground teams, leaving behind a scene of chaos and destruction, but no purge. The colonists, shaken but safe, emerged from their hiding places, staring in stunned disbelief at the human security forces, their faces smudged with dirt and awe. As the Starfarer, listing and badly damaged, pulled back into orbit, a new wave of energy signatures filled the system. Admiral Vostov's full fleet, having completed their earlier engagement with the main KR-Lax force, dropped out of hyperspace, their massive hulls a reassuring presence. "New Haven is secure, Admiral," Eva reported, her voice hoarse with exhaustion but bright with victory. "No purge, colonist casualties minimally, KR-Lax raiders routed." "Acknowledged, Captain," Vostov's voice resonated with pride. "Your actions saved countless lives and sent a clear message. We detected the KR-Lax dreadnought's destruction. The Imperium's arrogance will cost them dearly." Over the next few days, New Haven became a bustling hub of activity. Human engineers and medical teams swarmed the colony, providing aid, repairing damage, and treating the wounded. The Lumion, particularly Elder Alara and Kale, became central figures, working tirelessly with Dr. Thorne to establish medical aid stations, combining their profound healing knowledge with human resilience. News of the Starfarer's impossible defense of New Haven spread like wildfire across the galactic web. Not just the military engagement, but the why of it. Humanity, the extreme environment adaptives, the ones from the harsh world, had risked everything for a small, undefended colony of mixed species. And then, the calls began. Maya Singh, on the Ironclad's bridge, her eyes wide with disbelief, brought the reports to Admiral Vostov and Captain Rostova. "Admiral, Captain, we're receiving distress calls, no, not just distress calls, asylum requests from every corner of this sector and beyond. 5 new species in the past hour alone, sir. All of them fleeing KR-Lax expansion. All seeking asylum?" Vostov asked, a glimmer of understanding in his eyes. "Yes, sir," Maya confirmed. "They're citing the Lumion's tale, the reports from New Haven. They say humanity is different, that we don't demand fealty or resources, but simply offer protection. They're calling themselves the hopeful." Elder Alara, standing quietly beside them, her internal light radiating a calm, steady glow, spoke through Maya's translation. "Admiral, Captain, the KR-Lax believed that only the strong deserve to live. They believed that strength meant the ability to dominate, to consume. But you have shown the galaxy a different kind of strength. The strength to defend, the strength to heal, the strength to unite." Kale added, "We Lumion have always sought equilibrium stasis, but your people, you found strength in dynamism, in chaos, in pushing boundaries. Now, other fragile species, those who have hidden for generations, are seeing hope. They are asking to join the humanity's fleet." Vostov looked out at the vastness of space, then at the resilient, unyielding faces of his human crew and the gentle, hopeful expressions of the Lumion. "Humanity's fleet," he murmured, the phrase tasting right on his tongue. It wasn't just a military force anymore, it was a beacon. Eva Rostova looked at the Lumina, now fully repaired and enhanced, glowing faintly in the Ironclad's hangar. It wasn't a warship, but it had stood against a monstrous empire and survived, transformed by human collaboration. And it had helped save lives. This was just the beginning. The galaxy was vast, filled with both horrors and wonders. And now, at its edge, a new protector had emerged, forged in fire and driven by an unwavering belief in the fundamental right of all sentient beings to exist freely. Humanity had found its purpose, not as conquerors, but as guardians. The era of the extreme environment adaptives was truly dawning, and the galaxy would never be the same. The stories of humanity would continue to spread, not just because of their ferocity, but because of their compassion. And across the stars, the vulnerable and the oppressed would turn their eyes towards the growing light, towards the promise of refuge. For now, there was a fleet, strong enough to fight monsters and gentle enough to comfort children. And all were welcome to seek asylum. Thank you for joining us for the thrilling conclusion of Aliens Seek Asylum in Humanity's Deathworld fleet. If you were on the edge of your seat and enjoyed this epic finale, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel for more incredible Humanity for the Win stories. What was your favorite moment from this entire series? Let us know in the comments below,